Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the beautiful, beautiful Okokweyo in Namibia. Thank you for joining us today on Escape to Nature. We really appreciate it. My name is Lisa, and I will be your waterhole naturalist for the day, and I am very, very excited to be spending this day with all of you. And as you can see, for Earth Week, we've already got some beautiful creatures that wander this beautiful region on planet Earth. Now, as you see, we are currently in Okokweyo in Namibia, and we are watching all of this live as it's happening. And of course, we are technically on safari. And what is a safari without your wonderful questions and comments? So please do get in touch with us today. Please do send us anything you would like to chat about, or perhaps what you're looking forward to today. Of course, if you are watching on the app or on our website, you're more than welcome just to register, and that way you can get in touch with us. Otherwise, if you also follow us on YouTube, please remember to subscribe, and that way we can keep you posted. But we've got some zebras and a wildebeest, and hopefully we'll see lots today. Tsadiwa, the wonderful voice in my ear, said that we had an Ellie earlier on, so hopefully it did not wander off too far. Ooh, there's the springbok as well. They camouflage so well. But I hope everyone is having a beautiful, wonderful, safe week. I hope you are all doing very well. And please do let me know what you are looking forward to today. Hopefully we'll see a lot of creatures in our various locations. But even if we don't have all that much action, that is not what Escape to Nature is about. We are here literally just to observe, monitor, and most of all, just spend time with everything happening out here. Axel, amen on this wonderful Wednesday. It really is such a blessing just to be able to spend some time in the bush. However, it seems odd when we refer to this location as the bush, but it still counts. All of the locations we refer to as the bush. Just being able to spend time with these animals, see what they get up to, and you never know. Expect the unexpected. We never know what's going to happen. I wish I did. Would be wonderful. But that's the beauty of a safari and really just being out here. Even if it is virtually, we really can just sit back, relax, and just observe. Maita, good morning. Ooh, you hope to see a cheetah or a leopard. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Of course, both of those species do occur in this location, so it's not impossible. But you never know. Perhaps we get a surprise visit on the Djuma Dam cam. We do, of course, observe that water hole as well with the help of our wonderful zoomies, but you never know. But a cheetah or a leopard, how incredible would that be? Oh man, I've not seen either of those on this damn camera. So Maita, put out your positive energy and let's hope. Now, as you can see, it's a wonderful, beautiful, sunny day here in Okokweyo. But let's take a look at the forecast for all of our locations today. Ooh, 35 in Amakhala and 32 in Okukoyo. We can work with that. I mean, Sabi Sand and Madikwe are in their 20s, which is also fine. You never know what to expect regardless of the weather. It's good to know it though, especially if you are actually going on safari, just to take a poncho or a blankie or definitely some sunscreen. I think specifically in a location like this. Otherwise, you might end your safari looking like a lobster. But hopefully that heat and humidity will encourage the animals to come to the water, have a cool off, quench their thirst, and just bless us with the opportunity to be able to spend some time with them. Oh, and finally we've got an oryx arriving. You're late, but it's fine. We'll excuse you. Had a bit of a sleep in, did you? You'll see just at the back there is an oryx approaching as well. I do apologize if the camera shakes a little bit. Let me just do that. It is a little bit windy. But my oh my. I mean, we've been doing this for such a long time and every single day is a new adventure. Sort of like an adrenaline rush. Ooh, what will we see today? And as I say, of course, you know myself on the Okukoyo waterhole as well as Gowrie Dam in Djuma. We just sit back, relax and wait for the animals to come to us. But hopefully we'll get to go to some of our other locations as well. See what they'll find for us today. But I am definitely looking forward to hear what you are looking forward to today. Perhaps we can do some birding in Djuma today. We did have a beautiful Birchall's kukul earlier on, which is something you don't generally see out in the open. And he was, but of course when he heard Tadiwa saying 60 seconds, 60, he thought, nope, I'm out. I did not agree to this and I'm leaving. But these animals in Okukoyo, luckily they are very loyal, always on time, apart from the oryx. You are late again, but you will be excused for today. But also let me know what you would like to talk about today. As you all know, I love a good conservation conversation. So let me know, what would you like to delve into today? And we'll also be doing some anagrams during this week as well, and some quizzes. But I would love to know from you, what do you want to discuss? What do you want to learn more about? But while I keep observing these beautiful creatures, I'm going to let all of you have a look at one of our Earth Week clips.
Africa boasts myriad landscapes. From true forest to true desert. And countless stunning ecosystems in between. The savannas of East Africa are home to nature's most stunning spectacle, the Great Migration. These rolling grasslands are nurseries of abundant life. The woodlands of southern Africa, sometimes verdant and sometimes desiccated, offer the most intimate insight into the lives of the continent's beloved wildlife. Wherever you are in Africa, the scenic majesty will take your breath away.
Good day everybody. A nice, warm, friendly welcome from Amakhala Game Reserve here in the Eastern Cape. I hope you're all doing well today. And we are excited because today is going to be such a nice warm day, apparently around about 36 degrees Celsius. So that's sort of what we've been waiting for, and we're happy about that. Hello everybody, I'm Andrew, and Morgan is behind the camera. And yeah, we're going to take you on safari around Amakhala Game Reserve for the late morning over here. So let's hope that things will be quite good. and we hopefully see some nice animals. But at the moment, we're just stopping at this beautiful viewpoint. We've been listening to some interesting birds, and we've had a few sightings of some. We're just going to stick tight here for now and just see what's going to happen around here. It's quite a nice little spot where we're at now, because we are sort of on a lookout, so we can see quite far, but we are on a drop-off. So just below us is the dry river bed, and then of course this nice bit of Albany thicket that just proceeds along the river. So it's actually a riverine thicket, to be exact. Great place for bird watching and listening, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing now. Now there is a red-throated wryneck somewhere still calling. One of the primitive woodpeckers has been calling quite a bit here. And they're usually associated with dry stumps and dry trees. They do like dead, dry trees. I can still hear one, but we did see a, what's that bird now? A fiscal flycatcher moments ago. And there's also a nediki calling. Not far from this area, we had 2 secretary birds yesterday that were busy flying around. It's quite nice to see them on an eye level. It's quite special to see that. Marula shortcake, nice name. Yeah, you are totally right. We don't battle with viewpoints out here. There are so many different places that you can just stop and just enjoy the bush and enjoy the view. I'd love to know exactly how many viewpoints there are, but there's loads of them. I still don't know exactly how many there are. And of course, each guide, each naturalist will have their favorite areas. I know Morgan has got some areas that he likes as well. Morgan likes the Grand Canyon area and the cave, which is just below the ridge. Myself, I enjoy Tiny T and Geza Lookout. There's a bird that's busy chattering away here. I'm not quite sure what it is, so I'm just going to keep my eye on the side here, see if this bird does pitch up, that I can identify it by what it looks like, because I'm failing from the sound side of things. Oh, it's the Cape Batis. They've just flown off underneath the bushes here. A pair of Cape Batises. Very nice to see. Very secretive. You don't often see them. Can just hear them calling. It's just definitely when it comes to trying to identify bird calls, what you can do is just try and listen to what the bird is trying to say. Make a word association to something that you can remember, like I do. So with the chin spot batis, which we don't see out here, they say the 3 blind mice, but then the Cape Batis going, saying 2 blind, and then, other birds like Cape Turtle doves or the ringneck dove, when they go kukuruku, and they say drink lager or work harder. So you can see the points I'm trying to get at, just trying to make word associations. And the funnier it is, the easier it is going to be for you to remember. You must try and write it down in your bird book as well, because you will soon forget, because there are so many bird calls out here. Now in southern Africa, there's just over 900 species of birds. Here in Amakhala, we get sort of 1/3 of that population just on Amakhala, which is just over 300 species of birds. Definitely a bird watching haven if you do enjoy a bird watching. Lots of birds to see out here. Now, I was just mentioning earlier on during the sunrise safari that we are actually right where we park now. We're on the border of a transitional zone. So behind us we have the grassland. So you're going to have these more common grassland birds like the pipits and so on, and the crowned lapwings, those sort of birds, ant-eating chats and so on. But now, down where we are looking, this is a riverine thicket, and that's another habitat altogether. And birds, they do like transitional zones. Even some mammals do. And if you ever find yourself in the border of two different habitats, switch off the vehicle, get your binoculars out, because you will hear and see quite a few bird species. Melanie, what birds do I have on my bird list? Do you mean the ones that I need to see? What do I still have? What do I still need? Out here in Amakhala, oh, there's quite a few. There's going to be Narina trogon. I have seen 2 in my life before, many years ago. They're very secretive, but on Amakhala, never seen them. The willow warbler is another one that I'm still new to. I just identified it last year, in fact. And so, yeah, just to be able to spend a bit more time with them, because I'm still unsure of when I see them that it's them. So I don't put that down yet. But I don't actually have a bird list, but I do know some of the birds that I still need to see. But further in Africa or South Africa, if you go more towards KwaZulu-Natal, known as KZN, there's the, what's that one called now? A mangrove kingfisher. Never seen that. I need that one. What others do I need to see? Bearded vulture I haven't seen. I have looked for them and I have been in the correct areas for them. I never got lucky with them. Booted eagle, not booted eagle, what's that one called? A forest buzzard. I think I had a sighting once in one of the neighboring game reserves, but you know, I'm still unsure of that one. Which others do I need to see? Definitely takes a bit of thought to think about all these birds that are still missing from what I still need to see. But there's going to be many, many, many. I think up until now, over the last 17 years I've been doing this, I can identify just over 500 species of birds. And, you know, if you look at some people that I started my training with and I look at them now, some of them are well into their 700 species of birds. And bear in mind, there's over 900. So that is a big, big list. In the beginning, you know, bird watching is, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's a bit more, you know, let's use the word. It's a bit easier because, you know, you're still fresh to the birds. You're learning everywhere you look. You see a new bird, you're learning. But then as you learn those birds and you start to get them down, then to start to get your list higher, you need to travel. You've got to go into specific areas, and some birds are extremely localized, that you only find them in this small little area, and you have to travel to them. Okay, good one. There's a nice quarry, that nice green one, hey Morgan? That's the guarri, common guarri. I've actually seen a few birds fluttering in there. I'm not sure if there's a nest in there. I've seen the fiscal flycatcher go in there a couple of times. So it could very well be a nest inside this guarri. And you can imagine if you're a bird and you are nesting inside a tree like a guarri, especially like that, you're actually quite well protected because there's such a thick canopy and there's going to be all types of junctions of branches. And that makes very good nesting platforms. Oh, there comes a bit of a gust of wind. Yeah, I wonder what this afternoon will bring. I'm wondering if it's going to get windy like it has in the last few days. Yesterday we didn't have too much winds, but we do get these fast gusts every now and then. But we have noticed that the basin wall, which is straight ahead of us, very far away, there's often warm rising air, so the anabatic winds or the anabatics, and then we get katabatic flow is when it's very cold in the mornings, and that cold air just sinks down the wall of the basin, and it gets pretty turbulent, when that wind is either going up or whether it's going down.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the glorious scenes of Madikwe Game Reserve. Doesn't get much better than this. Well, it possibly could, but it's a great start. We're sitting here at Flay Pan, a pan I haven't been to since last year. So I'm super excited that we're back here. It's a really productive area. It's very scenic, lots of water, and the animals just absolutely seem to love it. But good morning, my name is Lauren and I do have Rian on camera, and we're going to sit here, wait, you never know who might come down. But not too far away from here is Melarani Pan, so we're going to bounce between the two and see which one is most active. But although the sun is shining, let me tell you that it's cold. It's not warm. You know, the male impala is getting ready. Rutting season is not too far away. They're full of nonsense. You can actually see their necks are thickening. They're looking in great condition. They're all causing such a nonsense over here, Rian, but I'm not sure you're going to be able to see them because of the pole. That wonderful black pole that we all love so much. There are 4 of them. Oh, don't act innocent now. We heard you. The rutting season is about to start. It's an exciting time. It's so exciting. And when you break it down, it isn't just simply a female coming into estrus and the rutting starts. It's a huge process, and it actually starts with the environmental cue of shorter day lengths. So an environmental cue is actually able to cue lots of things biologically, and it's almost like a domino effect when you spend time watching the impalas in rutting season. And they're not rutting just yet, but they're getting ready to. So if you sit and watch them, you can see that their body is starting to change a little bit. The necks are getting thicker. The behavior's changing. They're starting to become a lot more aggressive towards one another. And they're really vocalizing, a bit too vocal. They're sort of forgetting that there are a lot of predators here that are going to be listening for those sounds. The rutting season is not just wonderful for impala, but it's also wonderful for the predators, because you can hear the males, you know where they are. You know that they're not focused, they're not paying attention to what's going on around them. They're too busy fighting with one another, and they exhaust themselves. Especially at the end of the rutting season, you'll find a lot of out of condition, exhausted males. And it really is the shorter day length of April. Many of you know that we're going into winter now and it's cold. Not quite winter, but we're sliding right in at quite a fast pace. And it's these shorter day lengths that actually trigger a biological change, a chemical change in the male impalas. The testosterone rises. Only in sexually mature impalas, of course. The testosterone rises, and the testosterone rise brings about behavioral change. So it's gone from an environmental cue, biological change, behavioral change. And they actually start to separate from their group, their little bachelor herds, where they're all great friends. They're no longer friends. And they start to rigorously compete with one another to set up territories. And this is beginning to happen here. So they've gone from being sort of social and non-territorial to becoming territorial. It's quite a remarkable change, and they want their territory, of course, to have areas of females and good food. Now, this vocalization that they produce is what we call rutting space. They're trying to use vocalizations to create their space in between each of their neighbors. To say, hey, this area is mine. I love this little patch of grass. Don't come in it, or I'm going to fight you. And that's what they will do. They will challenge one another. You'll see the horn clashing. You'll see them striving for dominance. It's such a process, and it's fascinating to watch when you understand what's going on underneath. And that's just the males. Now we've got to think about the females. The females feel the effects of the male's behavior because they're often what we call sheepdog herded into herds. The males want herds of females all to themselves. So he can mate with all the females and he will be the most successful male in the area. So the females have to sort of comply with this, and they can see, feel, and hear the changes of the males. This behavior, so it's a behavioral change, induces the females, the sexually mature females, into estrus, a biological change. And then once they're in estrus, mating will follow for about a 3-week period. It's quite prolonged if you think about it. Isn't that amazing? All of these changes that are happening that we can't really see. The females are not in estrus. It's only the male's behavior, the changes, that brings them into estrus. There's probably a lot of chemical communication going on there as well that we're not aware of. And then once they're in estrus, the males, of course, will mate with them. But they only hold a territory for about 8 days on average because they completely exhaust themselves. They forget to eat, forget to drink. They're too busy vocalizing and horn clashing and chasing away other males and mating. It's a tough time to be an impala. And if you really break down that biological change, and it's these shorter day lengths that stimulate gonadal growth. That's why the neck also thickens. So there's changes within the gonads and changes within hormone production. And it's, of course, the hormone testosterone does bring about increased aggressiveness and territorial behavior. I think there's a lot more layers and levels and depth to the rutting season than you think. You think, they're just rutting. The males are fighting and they're mating. But actually, when you sort of break it down, there's a lot going on there. It's not as simple as it seems. And unfortunately, when rutting season is in full swing, you will see most of the predators with male impalas, from lions to leopards, hyenas, because they just get so out of condition. Brady, good question, but I couldn't possibly answer that. I couldn't possibly say whether global warming has had any effects on the environmental cues for animals. Animals is a very broad term. You're also talking about underwater creatures, aerial creatures, insects, amphibians, reptiles. So it's very, very broad, your question. So I couldn't possibly say whether climate change has had any effect on the impalas. I don't know if there's any data on that or any science on that. But because you referenced animals, I do know that global warming is affecting reptiles. And reptiles are temperature sex dependent, which means that once the egg is fertilized, the sex is not determined then, as it is in humans. The sex is actually determined by temperature. So for turtles, it's hot chicks and cool dudes. The hotter the temperature, you'll have females. The cooler, you'll have males. And normally it just depends on where the eggs are in the clutch as to what sex that egg will be. You can almost guess. The ones at the bottom will be cold, next to the cold sand, deep down, males. The ones in the middle, surrounded by all the body heat of all the other eggs, females. The ones on the top, with the sun shining on them, females. All the other ones in between, males. But I do believe that climate change and the global warming, the warming temperatures in certain areas around the world are affecting that, because it's going to throw it out of balance. If the temperatures are too hot, it means that the clutch is going to be skewed, and it's going to be skewed toward females, which sounds great. Females run the world after all, as Beyonce says. But of course, that's not great. You need an even clutch. You need males and females. So I can say it's having an effect on some animals, yes, and I do believe it will affect most animals. But as to me confirming that without the data, I couldn't possibly say, especially with regards to impala. But for reptiles, absolutely, and I do believe it will affect all organisms if our climate is changing, which it is. It may not be so obvious how it's affecting different organisms. It may not be very sort of visible, may be very subtle. But I think our changing world is affecting every living thing, including us. These two have been biting each other's legs since we arrived. What are you doing? And whether we like it or not, our world is changing. Our climate is changing. Maybe it was always going to change. After all, change is the only constant. But it is changing. Ocean acidification is affecting all the animals under the water. Those that take calcium to build their shells. Crustaceans. Even mollusks, actually. Coral. Rising sea levels, warmer oceans. If you think about El Niños and El Niñas, they are natural phenomena. However, they're increasing in frequency and intensity now. That isn't natural. And in 2016, when I was a marine biologist in the Maldives, I had my very own coral garden that I adored and worked very hard on. And my little cultivated coral was thriving, it was growing at a great rate. We'd come across a really cool technique that was really working, and we were sort of planning to transplant it back onto the reef. And then the El Nina came. And she came strong. She came from South America, and she brought such high temperatures to the Maldives that stayed far too high for far too long. And coral's fussy. Coral can only withstand a very specific temperature band, and if it goes too high, they become very stressed, and you'll find what is called coral bleaching, where the coral goes white. The coral's still alive, but it's stressed. It's in a very stressed state, and it needs the temperatures to go back down to normal as soon as possible. And if they don't, the stress wins and the coral does die. And within a matter of days, I think even one day, my whole coral garden was dead, and most of the reef surrounding the island was dead. And the reefs are there for a reason, not for snorkelers and divers, but the coral reefs actually protect the island. You take away your coral reef and woo, your island's in big trouble. It breaks the waves, it breaks the surge, and it just keeps the island intact. Coral reef dies, it degrades, it breaks down. Not only do you completely lose the... Look at this one. Living his best life. Come on, another one. And just to wrap up, once you lose that whole ecosystem, you lose species, you lose everything. The ocean becomes not as productive, there's no more coral, and the island gets damaged. It's a knock-on effect. And in 2016, the Maldives lost 90% of its coral. 9-0, all from an El Nina. It was a heartbreaking time, and it's still not fully recovered. I don't know if it ever will. And coral garden no more for me. So Brady, yes, absolutely. Not sure about zebra or impala or wildebeest. But global warming as a whole is definitely having an effect on our world and our climate. Got the wildebeest coming to join. The Great Migration. Oh no, here Rian, look. This is so wonderful. I'm really happy to be back at this pan. I spent a lot of time here last year, during winter. The water was just a tiny puddle. I didn't always give too much attention to wildebeests before, but after spending so much time with them and seeing the birth, I love them. I also had a really traumatic sighting, actually, that I still struggle to process with wild dogs here in Madikwe. And the mother wildebeest accidentally walked her brand newborn calf for the first time it was walking into the dogs. She didn't realize they were there. And I can't talk about it, but I've never seen an animal fight so hard for its young than I did that day with the mom wildebeest. And it opened my eyes to really seeing that maternal bond and maternal care. She fought so hard for her calf. Of course, the dogs were the ones that won, but she gave everything. Darby actually recorded that sighting and still can't watch it back. We still can't open that file.
Towards the end of May, I'm going to be heading back to Djuma, which is one of my favourite places. Now, as many of you know, we need a little help keeping our operations going. For those of you who donate $100 or more, I'll take you on a private safari. It won't be entirely private, there may be 20 or so of you there, but you'll still be able to answer any questions that you might have. We'll visit all the places that you want to, and we'll look for all the characters that you'd like to see.
What a stunning morning indeed, Lauren. How blessed and fortunate and just so lucky are we to be able just to watch all of these animals, whether we are in Madikwe, Okokoyo, in Djuma, Amakala. It is just amazing to know that whenever we want, we can spend time with them. And as I say, it really is something that we have to take full advantage of now while we can. Because we don't know if this will be the same situation in 10 years, 20 years. Will these animals still be thriving as they are now? Or will we have had a very, very big impact on how they exist and where they exist? But I've been taking a few sneaky looks around in the tree line and literally everywhere to see if we don't have a lion or a leopard or a cheetah or something hiding somewhere. Unfortunately, not yet. As you can see, we've still got our zebras, our springbok coming down to the water, and it really is just such a peaceful day already. And as I always say, yes, action is a lot of fun. It's always incredible to see animals perhaps stalking something, or an animal with a brand new baby. But just really everything that we see. Whether the animals are just going about their daily routines, drinking water, feeding, dust bathing. I can't remember when last I saw a proper dust bathe from a zebra like you just did, Lauren. They truly are very fascinating, and much like elephants when they are dust or mud bathing, it's probably one of my favorite things to photograph when I'm on safari as well. But just to know that we get to watch all of this live as it's happening right now, in all of our locations, is really just so special. But in terms of rainfall for this location, I don't think and forecast that will unfortunately have any more rain for this season. However, I am not a part of Mother Nature. I unfortunately do not have her email address. So I don't know. No one knows. Oh, look at the guinea fowl. Ding, 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 ding. They seem to be on a mission in the back. You'll see just between the actual water hole and the tree line, there's a big flock of something moving, and those are the helmeted guinea fowls, fairly common bird species in Africa, specifically southern Africa, and personally one of my favorite birds. And it was so funny, I'm sure I've told you guys this, but I will never forget the very first time that I saw brand new guinea fowl chicks. And the other day when I was at my previous lodge visiting and saying hello to everyone, Ruan, my former colleague and friend, he also said, you know, I'll never forget the day that you actually called that in on the radio. A lot of the people must have thought, Lisa, oh my word, this is not at all professional. But that's what it's all about, you know. Out here we have to get excited about everything. And yes, Chris actually explained it very, very good a couple of days ago on Sunset Safari. You will never again have that feeling of the very first time that you saw a lion kill, or the very first time that you saw a brand new elephant calf. But it's always amazing to see all of these animals. And that's what it's about, getting excited about all of them, wanting to learn about them. And we as naturalists, I'm sure every naturalist and guide out there will agree with me, but that's probably one of the questions we get asked the most. Don't you ever get tired of this? Seeing impalas every single day? No, not at all. And I've always said the day that I get tired of it is the day that I have to retire in the industry, because as soon as you lose your interest and your passion for all of these animals, then you know, perhaps it's time to move on. And for me, it will never be time to move on. I will always love Mother Nature, the animals, the locations, just everything about Africa is just mind-blowingly amazing. But of course, I'll keep my eyes peeled on the Okukoyo Dam camera. But I think for now, let's head on over to Djuma to see what's happening over there. Tiny bubbles. You'll see a hippo's head. And there's the hippo. I'm always so excited to see them because you never know. They might get out again tonight, go to a different dam, treehouse dam, twin dams, whichever one. And then in the mornings, it's always so exhilarating to hear from our wonderful Zoomies that help us out on this dam camera. What is the update? What happened? Who was here last night? Are the hippos back? Did they leave? So it's definitely very exciting. Now there are a few hippos here. If I'm not mistaken, I saw 3 or 4. We'll just see now as soon as they show themselves again. But there's one becoming one with a tree in the water. I think we shall call that one Steve, the tree hugger. But as you can see, it's a nice and sunny day today in Djuma. Hopefully some of the animals will come down to the dam to either get a drink or to splash around a little bit. Whatever tickles their fancy. No, don't be like that. Please just show yourselves. Earlier on, they were so active, rolling around, tackling one another. Ooh, there's another one. I found you. And again, this is not an endangered species or an uncommon species to see when you are on safari in Africa. But for me especially, I mean, I never know if we'll see hippos and for how long we won't see them. Of course, in the rest of Djuma, they do traverse and they are in the other dams, like Chitwa Dam as well. But they move around at night. They can move around during the day as well. It's not like they have a timer telling them you're not allowed out of the water right now. But as soon as it cools off, they'll get out of the water, move around, graze a little bit, mark their territory, and then either come back to this specific waterhole or just carry on to a next. Lenny, good morning. So good to hear from you. You are saying it's Dewey. He's the tree hugger. And then an adult female with 2 youngsters. And again, this is a very interesting dynamic. We saw this a few days ago as well. And I'm wondering, do both calves belong to her? Is she babysitting for someone? Did she adopt another calf? It will be very interesting. And why is Dewey tolerating them? And with hippos, it can be a very, very heartbreaking scenario when there are calves involved as well. Because sometimes there are dominant bulls, and if they don't accept the calves into the pod, perhaps they are introduced too quickly, or whatever the situation is, they can actually kill them. But that being said, the females are ferocious. They do not take nonsense. And they will definitely try and defend them as best they can. One of the best videos that I actually took ever in my life on safari was of a hippo cow that was fighting with another male. And you could just see the baby chilling on the side like, all right, mommy, you go. Let me know when you're done. I'm quite thirsty now. So they definitely will not back down, like a lot of these other creatures that we see out here. It's amazing when you think about the sacrifice that they make, not just with having those youngsters, but also defending them, protecting them, whatever the cost, whether it's against a species of their own or perhaps a predator. They are playing a little bit of hide and seek with us now. So what I'm going to do is I will just see if I can find our parrots. We've had quite a few interesting bird sightings here this morning already. We've had a Burchell cuckoo out in the open. We've had some buffalo weavers constructing a nest or collecting material for a nest. So I'm just going to see if I can find us our parrots. And of course look around for anything else as well. And if you do see anything, please stop me, let me know. Tell me, Lisa, wow, you just missed a pretty flower, or you just missed an animal or bird, or whatever it is that you see that I might miss. That is ultimately the best thing on safari, is knowing that you have more than just one set of eyes. And I always told my guests, if you see something, say something. Even if we reverse 500 times, and every time it turns out to be a log or a rock or something, rather be safe than sorry, because you will always be left wondering. Yes, hippos, we hear you. There's no use in vocalizing now and shouting at us when we've left you. We do just quickly want to make sure that our parrots are around. And I did check in with the zoomies. They said they are still busy nesting here. And I know a lot of you have been following their journey avidly. So we'll just be a little bit patient. I know right now we are just looking at a tree with a hole in it. But in this actual tree cavity, there are two beautiful brown-headed parrots. I don't know if they're inside right now or if they are outside. But to our knowledge, they are busy nesting here. And they've got chicks in there. So we'll just be a little bit patient. We might just see a head coming out, saying good morning and then going back in. Come on. We would love to say good morning. So Tadiwa, the lovely voice in my ear, is asking, what do the brown-headed parrots sound like naturally when they are not actually imitating something or someone? So Tadiwa, this is for you. This is their beautiful call. Isn't that adorable? It sounds like a little Tweety bird. It's like a chickadee, Tadiwa. But yes, they are phenomenal birds. And I know someone asked the other day, are they the same as the grey or the African grey parrots? They are not, no. They do, of course, belong to the same family. But the African grey is a very, very large bird. And a lot of them, or a lot of you will know them as being domesticated birds in South Africa. I also used to have a friend that I was very fond of. His name was Chutney, and Chutney was my best friend at my previous lodge. And unfortunately, during the pandemic, somehow he got out, and he was unfortunately feasted on by an African wildcat. Which is impressive if you think about it, because it's as I say, it's a very big bird. But unfortunately, Chutney has gone to Mother Nature's heaven. But anyway, before I get sad, let's see if we can check in with our hippos again. Come on, hippos. Show yourselves. These animals definitely know when we go live with them. I know as naturalists we all say this so often. But as I say, earlier on it was very entertaining. They were all rolling around and playing. Alrighty, well, let us see if we can perhaps spot any critters in the bush. This has got to be one of my favorite locations in terms of, well, Okokoyo is as well. Both of them have very unique features that we get to see as the viewers. But especially here in Djuma, you never know when there's a leopard around or a bokkie that's just busy getting some shade. Or even a monkey. I can't remember when last I saw a vervet monkey on the damn camera. I know the other day we had a big troop of baboons, a lot of little ones. But this is what it's all about. Any safari is really like a treasure hunt. You look around, move around, whether it's on an actual safari on a vehicle or on a walking safari, or like us, virtually just moving around the camera. But you never know. When I do this, I always hear da-dum, da-dum. because you never know what might jump out or photobomb us. And this truly is such a special location. I mean, we've been operating from here for a long time, and I know many of you have been following us for years, but I'm sure you'll definitely agree with me. It changes every single year or season. We can definitely see there's a drop in the water level. The bush is slowly losing its color. However, it's been wonderful having so much rain here. That's definitely going to sustain the vegetation and the rest of the area for the animals a little bit longer in winter time. But even so, it's so incredible to always see how these animals just carry out or carry on throughout winter, especially those that are able to regurgitate. Come on, leopard. Oh man, I really thought that's a leopard sitting there. But speaking of water and water holes, while I keep looking for some animals, I'm going to let all of you take a look at another one of our beautiful Earth Week clips.
No life on our planet exists without the simple combination of hydrogen and oxygen, that is, water. Every cell that makes up the wonders of our natural history needs this life-sustaining molecule. Sometimes in tiny amounts, sometimes in torrents. Our blue planet, flush with biological wonders, would be a desolate, lifeless place without miraculous H2O.
Woo, that threw me off a little bit. That's the same song we use for Escape to Nature, so I was very confused there for a minute. And when I actually looked at the screen, I was like, no, everything's fine. We are not restarting the show. But how true is that? Without H2O, we are nothing. And I don't always think we fathom how precious it is and how fortunate we are to be able to have accessibility to water. The other day I was watching, well, not the other day, this is quite a while ago, but I was watching a show with my mom about people, you know, that have these really, really expensive homes and very luxurious and fancy. And this agent actually, or the client, threw a massive tantrum because as you walk into this mansion, there is this beautiful, it looks like a swimming pool, but there's like a water feature, and it didn't have water in when they went for the viewing. And he threw a tantrum. He was like, how can there not be water here right now? I'm going to need this for the event, yada, 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 yada. And I think it was something like $100,000 per day to hire this place or to rent it. And I told my mom, this saddens me so, so, so much, because there are people that doesn't even have water to drink or to bathe in, much less to have it for fancy water feature, for show off. And it's really a lesson that I think we all have to remind ourselves every day of. Even myself, I still make the mistake of brushing my teeth and not closing the tap whilst I'm brushing. Every now and again, I love bathing. Love, love, love it. And sometimes I feel like, I just really need a bath after today. But then I have to remind myself, no, it's a lot of water. It's much more efficient to take a shower, and even more so when you do it quickly. So indeed, H2O is the wonder of the world, and we really are just wasting it and taking advantage of it. But as you can see, it's fairly quiet now in Djuma. I will look for our H2O creatures again. However, it is heating up a little bit now, so I suspect that they'll probably just chill out, take it easy, not exert too much energy. And I would say I would definitely not mind being a hippo if I could be an African animal. Spending that much time in the water, being very scary, but also being able to be very playful. I would not mind that. Oh, hello. And also, this is an animal, especially on my previous game reserve that I guided on, that we had many, many, many of. Eventually, it became like impalas to the guests, because they were just like, sheesh, another one. But that is because on my previous game reserve, there was, I think, over 40 water holes. And that was man-made and natural. But because of that, there were a lot of hippos. So it was a rather frequent sighting we had. And even on safari, as I say, in Chitwa Dam, we know we currently have a lot. When I was in the Sabi Sands recently, there really are a lot. And they don't always show themselves. But with hippos specifically, hippos can be a very deceiving animal. You think there's a pot of 5, and then all of a sudden, they pop up in different places. And to an extent, I want to say luckily or fortunately, but we are more civilized, it's not that much that it is all that rural and people have to go to the water holes to take a bath, etc., because that's what happens. The hippos feel threatened, and they'll storm out of the water, whether it's just people coming to the water holes to fetch water for the village or whatever the case is. And I'm not saying that is not at all happening. As life is going on, it is happening less and less, though, because we are becoming more civilized. But it's very interesting. Oh, hello, Terrapin. It's very interesting to see how things are changing. And again, as I say, we should not be taking water for granted. We should not be taking anything for granted. Not these animals, not the locations that they are in. Kelly, good morning. Thank you so much for your comment. Yes, he's chilling and we are fangirling. Indeed. And as I say, that's really, I feel as the waterhole naturalist, always I feel, oh, we are so lucky. Because yes, we do have days where we literally watch the Okokweyo waterhole as well as the Djuma Dam Cam, and there's not a lot happening. But isn't it amazing that we get to spend time with these animals, not at all interfering with them, altering their behaviors in any manner at all? And even though the animals do become habituated to the vehicles and to people and everything, as wildlife, I don't even just want to say as naturalists, as wildlife enthusiasts, and that means it goes for all of us, wherever you find yourself in the world. This is not just pertaining to African animals. We still have to remember that this is their habitat. We are not entitled or have a right to be able to watch them and observe them and invade their space. Not at all. And I've had many sightings where unfortunately I have had fellow colleagues, that go too close to the animals and that alter the behavior of that animals. So wherever you find yourself, if you go on a private safari to a national park, or even if you just find yourself walking in the park and you see squirrels and things like that, bear in mind that they are still natural wild animals. I always find it so sad, when us as humans are feeding ducks and geese and birds bread. Because please I don't want to go into this too much now, but do yourself a favor and go research that a little bit with regard to their digestive system. In the long run, it's not healthy for them. And unfortunately, animals become so used to us feeding them, and they sort of demand that. I know in the Cape, especially in the Western Cape, there's a massive problem with baboons being very aggressive towards vehicles and things like that because people just feed them. And I'm not saying people do it obnoxiously or on purpose or anything like that. Perhaps they are just uneducated. But as soon as you start doing those types of things, animals become used to it. And something like a baboon, you all know how I feel about them. I fear them. But something like that can become very aggressive. And they will definitely act on the emotions in that moment or on the situation. So be very, very careful before you feed animals in the wild.
From the 17th to the 22nd of April, Wild Earth is hosting Earth Week. Join us as we spend time with people who are making a difference on our planet. Earth Day is about diversifying, educating, and activating the environmental movement worldwide. Come along each day as we focus on different elements of our beautiful natural world and invest some of your time in the planet this Earth Week with Wild Earth.
There's one of the youngsters, it seems. Could be wrong. Let me just take a closer look. That seems like a fairly smaller head. But that's the thing with hippos. They are very deceiving. You just see the head and you think, oh, it's not that big an animal. It's fine. And then once they go out onto the bank, or actually exit the water hole completely, or even just, defecate on a log, and you see the actual body size, it's rather intimidating. But as we are watching these hippos that seem like they are celebrating something or very excited about something, remember we are also very excited because it is in fact our sweet 16th birthday this year. So we'll be celebrating that on the 27th of April. So please remember to send your videos to birthday@wildearth.tv. And we are very, very excited to see what you come up with. Will you serenade us? Will you write us a poem? Will you just say, happy birthday? Woohoo! Please do send those to us. And it's around the corner. Can you believe we are already almost at the end of April? It feels like yesterday that we were still celebrating Christmas and New Year's and whew, a third of the year almost gone. I like you guys. You're very fascinating to watch. Ooh, look at it. Da, 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 da. Abigail, you would like to know, is it true that hippos can't swim? They just bounce. So there's a lot of discussion around this and arguments and debates. But yes, they just sort of bounce around in the water. They don't actually doggy paddle. So if you've perhaps seen Tarzan, the original animation, there's a very clear depiction of that in one of the scenes. I think it's when he swims with him. But you can very clearly see it in that. Is it Tarzan or the Jungle Book? It's one of those two. But no, they do not doggy paddle or swim. They actually just sort of bounce around. And it's incredible, again, to think that such a big animal is able to do that. But it's just like us. I'm sure many of you have found that when we are in a swimming pool or in a body of water, it's much easier to do a push-up or a handstand. I, for the life of me, cannot do a handstand on land. But in the water, piece of cake. So this is what I was referring to. Oh, are you very tired? Is the sun exhausting you now? Oh, yes, must be. But this is what I was referring to, They do come out of the water, they graze. Hippos can, in some cases, be referred to as omnivores, but they are predominantly grazers. Ooh, look at this blacksmith lapwing. So what this bird is doing off to our right now, very clever. Hi hippo, don't mind me. Please just carry on. And as the hippo is moving, he's probably going to flush out some insects. And the blacksmith lapwing will just take advantage of a free meal. Whoa! That was impressive. So you see, it's a very big animal. It's not something you want to be friends with or provoke unnecessarily. And this is something you don't see too often. Hi! Oh goodness. I was trying to hold the note with the hippo, but the hippo has obviously got a much longer breath than I do. If you do consider that they can go underwater for like 5 to 7 minutes, there's no way that I was going to compete with it. But I think we should use that clip, you know, make a voiceover or add in an opera singer or just something. And especially in locations like Djuma, with this type of vegetation, bushveld, dense, lush, thick, you have to be very careful. And as I've told many of you, for me specifically in the winter time, I've had a lot of sightings of hippos outside the water, even in the middle of the day, because then the temperatures are not as harsh as they would be in the mid or the peak of summer. You see, Jared, he is singing. Izzy, you are saying they are still cute even though they are very scary. Indeed. I mean, often, you know, even when we look at the lions and the leopards, we tend to say, "Oh, it's so cute." But this one is a younger hippo. You can see with the actual body, you can see the head, and also the playfulness. Walking up to all of the branches. But biggest indication especially would be the head size. If you compare this to an adult or fully grown hippo on land, it's definitely significantly smaller. It's like this hippo knows we are watching. Can you please just give me some space? I just want to get a brunch. I do not need the paparazzi now on my face. I thought safari time is not now. Just bear with me. I just quickly want to see what the other hippos are up to. Always good to just have a look around. Especially if you are so focused on one animal. You never know why they are reacting in the manner that they are. Unless you just make sure that you check around every now and again. Russell, you would like to know, are they biting the grass or actually tearing it? Or pulling at it? So yes, they are literally shearing it, I almost want to say. So that is also why hippos are considered very destructive by us humans. because they really can destroy the grass. They don't just mow the lawn, they really they pull out the lawn. So they'll get a little bit and they'll actually pull at it. Zebras do very much the same when they are grazing. And again, amazing to know that such a big animal feeds on grass. That's why I say, don't tell me these tall tales of eating grass makes you slim and skinny. Look at elephants, look at rhinos, look at hippos and buffaloes. Please explain. Now, of course, it's got a lot to do with their digestive systems. Hello. This is a very special sighting indeed. And I suspect we'll probably be seeing more of this, probably within the next coming months. And that is why hippos are considered so dangerous. And that was not even a great speed. They can go much faster than that. Hippos are territorial, but also the water is where they feel safe. So if they feel threatened and they want to get back into the water, and you as a safari guide or a guest with a safari guide is in the way, unfortunately that hippo is heading for the water, whether you are on its path or not. But as I say, that wasn't even a full charge for the water. That was just a woohoo. Let me just get back in. But I'm sure I don't have to tell any of you this, but these beautiful creatures are mammals. And speaking of which, let's take a look at a clip of some mammals.
Across the continent, fascinating mammals have evolved to fill every conceivable niche. Their struggles for survival, natural and anthropogenic, mirror those of wildlife the world over. Because they are so beguiling, Africa's mammals have become ambassadors for the Earth's remaining wilderness.
Ambassadors, indeed, all of them, the whole lot. But especially hippos as well. For me personally, in my experience, guiding guests, this has also been one of the phenomenons that guests want to see. Oh, hippos, as well as giraffes and elephants and lions. But I think hippos are definitely one of those animals that we sort of feel like we have a connection with. I don't know who of you remember that game, Hungry Hippo? But also due to animations, films that we see. And if you look at the size of these two and you look at this one on the left, I think this one on the left is actually Dewey, the one on the far left, because he seems a little bit larger. But you can see they are significantly smaller and playful. I pat you back. Just like us as humans, you know, when you are a child, you are way more playful, energized. And if you have siblings or relatives, even more fun. Dewey is just like, ugh, amateurs. And as I say, I'm wondering about this dynamic. I do not know these hippos personally. I don't even know Dewey personally. Yes, we've gotten to know him a little bit. But I wonder what the dynamic with the other two are, because they seem more or less the same size, therefore the same age, I would guess. And watch how the cow stays between them and Dewey. Erica, good morning. Thank you for joining us on Escape to Nature. Male herbivores also killing previous males' babies. Not too sure if I understand your question. Are you referring specifically to hippos? Because with hippos, yes, they can be very ferocious, but with other animals as well. I have unfortunately been in a sighting where a stallion zebra killed another harem's foal, which is interesting because, you know, when you look at lions, for instance, lions, I know that's not a herbivore, but I just want to paint a picture. If a male lion comes across a female who's still with her cubs at a very small age, that male can actually detect if they belong to him or not with regard to genes. And if they don't, it has happened and it will continue happening. But if they don't, he'll kill them. And that female will stop lactating. She'll go into estrus again. And then that male knows he stands a chance to reproduce and to bring in his own genes. So it can happen. But as I say, I've seen it with zebras. But with hippos specifically, yes. Hippos can be very, very ferocious. They are aggressive, and it can happen, but that is why the cows, that's what I was referring to earlier on, you know, the cows, the sacrifice that they make just by defending and protecting the young is incredible. And again, we often talk about emotional intelligence and intelligence of different species, etc., etc. And I will keep reiterating this until I give my last breath. But we will never fully fathom and understand and grasp animal intelligence and how they function and why they function in the manner that they are. But for that female to realize that she needs to protect them, surely there must be some emotional intelligence. There must be a bond. So I hope that answers your question, Erica. I apologize if I misunderstood your question.
We hope that when you watch Wild Earth, you will fall in love with nature. We know that our explorers share a passion for nature and want to make a difference. Wild Earth Schools is back. Sign up to be an explorer and your subscription will help us reach the future conservationists of our planet. Invest in something that truly matters, encouraging children to care for our beautiful Wild Earth. Wild Earth Explorers, make a difference.
Oh man, what a privilege. It's literally almost midday. And a lot of people will tell you, oh, you don't go on safari in the middle of the day. You're not going to see much. Because the animals are sleeping, they are resting. And yes, I know they are water animals, so they might be active, but this is always special to see. But I will continue watching them, keep you posted in the meanwhile. But for now, I'm going to send you over to Lauren.
We have changed our plan a little bit today because that's what happens out in the wild. Nothing ever goes to plan. We've come here for a reason. I'm not going to tell you what that reason is right now because I'm going to try and make it a surprise. But look at this. We're at Clo Dam, and there's Clo, baboons, and there is a jackal that keeps running in front. You will see it probably in just a moment or two. Wow. You don't even need me to tell you. You just will know by looking here at that these two elephants are huge bulls. I just haven't come to this dam and there's not something going on. It's... I just love this dam. I love it, love it, love it. But we are on a mission, so we will continue our little secret mission. But I think for now we're just going to sit and watch the comings and goings of Clo Dam. My radio? Do you know the radio's silent the whole time we're not live? Do you know that? Minute we go live, yes. Gotta love it. Oh, the elephant. husband won't be happy about the baboons. Margaret, you are saying when you think of Africa, this is what you envision. I get you. I get what you're saying. You don't need to think of the iconic lion. You just need to think of a scene that just represents what the vision is for you, whether you've been to Africa or not. So much happening here. The mountains in the background, the Inselbergs, the dam that's receding, the elephants, the baboon, the pied crow that just landed on. I think that's a dead leadwood. I agree with you, Margaret. A scene like this. And it'll get busier. It's 11:15, and I'm telling you, it will just get busier and busier here. But this is the first time I've seen baboons here. I must say it's really quite something watching them. They're all on the dam wall. They're all on the western side. You get really, really big troops of baboons here. The biggest I've ever seen, actually. If Rianne's able to show you how far they go, you'll see there are so many more. Erica, you're saying the baboon troops can be quite intimidating, especially the big ones. Yes, yes, completely. They are formidable animals. I never find the Chakma baboons too intimidating. I've never had a sighting where I've found them to be intimidating, but yes, they can be. And baboons have been known to take cubs, lion cubs, leopard cubs, chase leopards. Davi and I had a sighting on one of those mountains where it was during Escape to Nature. The cheetah caught an impala lamb, and the baboons, they all reacted and they chased the cheetah away. So they know their place, and of course they've got humongous teeth. But I do think if I had to say, I would say the Galada baboons of Ethiopia are slightly more intimidating. I'm desperate to go up and see them. The best place to see them is the Simien Mountains in Ethiopia, and I think they are very intimidating. But baboons are definitely not to be messed with. The males can get huge, and it can be really problematic when they enter into your camp or your home or your room. Monkeys are bad enough, but baboons, your room is going to be a mess, most likely with lots of damage. I got asked the other day if I kept a diary or wrote a book. Poor Egyptian geese. And I don't, but I know I probably should. And I think if I wrote a book about my life so far, I would call it The monkey stole my tooth. Have you heard the story, Rian? I'm sure many of you have, but if you haven't, I'm going to tell it again. I had to get one of my many problematic wisdom teeth taken out. And I was on drive in Juma, and my face was swollen. I could barely talk and couldn't fight it anymore. I knew I was going to have to get it removed. And I got it removed in Hoedspruit, the nearest town, and I was so shocked at the size of it. It was monstrous. All that wisdom I have, you know. I'm joking. And the roots were huge. So I thought, I'm going to bring it back to camp. I need to show everyone. I need to show James. I need to show Davi, Trishala. Everyone needs to see this tooth. So I brought it back and I showed everyone, and I don't think they were that impressed, but you know, and I kept it in my bedroom. Anyway, the monkeys raided my bedroom, the vervet monkeys, and stole my tooth. They stole my wisdom tooth. They stole all my wisdom. They stole a few other things too, but I never ever got that tooth back. That would be the title of my book of my life. The monkey stole my tooth. You normally get the Lanner falcon sitting on this tree, but that's a pied crow. It's all quieting down all of a sudden. Baboons all left. And they've not all gone, but it's definitely not as busy. It's the beauty of the comings and the goings of the dam. You could just sit and be entertained forever. Isn't this just wonderful? So much is happening around this water body. Bit of a pool party beginning. I think these are all bills. always come to this part of the dam. Always, always. It is where the water has been pumped. It is the freshest water. It hasn't sort of hit the ground yet, so it's not tainted with soil or anything. But it's just funny that they all come to this single part of the dam. And if they're really not competing, bulls will interact. They are social animals at the end of the day, and their relationships with the herds really do change as soon as they're ousted. And I often try to wonder what it's like to be ousted as a elephant or a lion out of the pride. I often wonder how that is. I'll never know. I'm not an elephant, but they still need to interact. The herds are always very cautious around them, the bulls. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're powerful. But the bulls still do want to socialize. It's not all competition. If they're not in must and they're not sort of competing over a female in estrus, they still want to hang out. Boys will be boys. And we've got a huge herd coming in now, just from the left, Rian. Don't know if you'll be able to see, but everybody's making their way to the freshest water. Oh, they're walking past the freshwater point. That's fascinating. Lawrence, it depends what camp you're actually talking about, but I'm going to speak about Djuma. It's the most familiar camp to me. That's home in the Lowveld, Djuma Private Game Reserve. And I lived there for many years, and it's not fenced. There is an electric fence, but it's not. It's not the most robust thing at keeping elephants out. And yes, we have encountered elephants in camp. You have to be really, really smart, savvy, and self-assured when you're living in camps that are not fenced. I've woken up to a leopardess sawing on my porch. I've woken up to a hyena watching me watching Netflix. We've had lions hunt buffalo through that camp. And elephants. You have to know what to do in certain situations. And of course, you don't want to run into an elephant really ever, not when you're on foot, and not when the elephant isn't sort of expecting you. And yeah, that's not a good idea. So yes, elephants can get into camps. But luckily, the main part of the camp in Djuma, they can't really access. Their bodies are a bit too big for it. But they love to. What was that? That's a very confident baboon about to approach. So yes, Lauren, just to summarize, it really depends on what camp you're talking about, but elephants can get into camps. Ridley, you'll never get tired of the excited water waddle run. The water swagger, I like to call it. But if it's a calf, I guess it's a waddle. Me neither. It's ridiculous. This huge, cumbersome animal that's not really so elegant in its movements, and they just start running out of nowhere because they are that excited to get to water. And it's cute and it's adorable, but really, it tells you so much. Yes, they need to drink. Every organism depends on water. We haven't found one yet that doesn't, in some way, shape, or form. But they're so stimulated by water. I really believe that when I research the senses time and again, sorry, that's impala. My goodness, there's so much happening here. When I research the senses time and time again, they love the feel of it on their skin. They love the smell of it in their nostrils. They love, I believe, the sound of it, the splishing and the splashing. A lot of us like this. This baboon's just going for a jolly good stroll around the dam. They love the sound of it. They love the taste of it. I believe they love everything about water. It really stimulates them, and every animal will experience pain in its life, and every animal, I believe, will experience pleasure. And pleasure can come in many different forms. For some humans, it's chocolate. Definitely not me. I'm way more a savory person, but pleasure is important in life, and I believe for elephants, water is a large part of pleasure for their daily lives. It's really important to think of animals as having pleasure and not just sort of sitting still, not thinking. No, they may be basking in the sun, they may be smelling the beautiful flower next to them. No matter the organism, I believe that they all experience pleasure. And it's difficult to think about with regards to some creatures, like the smallest of insects, or nudibranchs underwater, or sea slugs, or some even coral. It's difficult to think about, but I believe in some way, shape, or form there must be pleasure. They must derive pleasure from their daily life. Erica, you're saying everyone seems in perfect harmony. It does feel like that, doesn't it? Elephants do get a bit sassy when other animals come to the dam, but all in all, everyone's just going about their daily life. No one's interacting. They're just cohabiting the same space, utilizing the same resource. And you're right, I think that's a great way to describe it, Erica. Perfect harmony. Well, I think it's safe to say that we're definitely not going anywhere. Once again, Clodagh trumps. But we are going to send you guys all the way over to the Eastern Cape.
Okay, we've managed to find a beautiful, beautiful giraffe bull over here. Look at him, he is stunning. And he's all by himself by the looks of things, but he's sort of staring past us over here. So you never know, out just in the north where the plains are, perhaps there's giraffe out there that he's just got his eye on and just watching. Look at him ruminate, eh? He just keeps on re-chewing and re-chewing and re-chewing. Now try watch him closely. There we go. The rumen just goes down. Now watch the neck. Oop, just like that, and up it comes again. It's quite fascinating to watch that. And there we go, re-chewing and re-chewing and re-chewing, making it finer and finer and finer. So this is what we call ruminating. Many of you already know this, but there's going to be some people who are unsure. So this is a ruminant animal, so it's busy ruminating. And basically that means that the giraffe is going to re-chew its food to access the different chambers within the stomach. And many people think that they have 4 stomachs, which is not quite right. They have got 1 stomach, but they have got 4 chambers in the stomach. There, the food goes down again, watch. And you'll just see it come up every now and then, loop, up it comes again, just like that. So the whole idea behind this is, so they'll grab some leaves and they chew it fine as they can. Then they swallow it in the form of a bolus, which is the ball of food. That goes into the first chamber and will get digested a little bit. Then when they bring it back up and re-chew it again, they chew it even finer so that it can bypass that first chamber because it's already been in there, and then it can go into the second chamber, and then eventually the third chamber, and then once it does it again, the 4th chamber, and so on. And then eventually it passes through the system. And you see these little pellets that they produce are actually very small in relation to the size of the animal. Of course, the quantity is there because they do leave a lot of pellets on the ground. But if I have to pick up a giraffe dung and I show any random person, hey, this is giraffe dung, most of the time they're like, how? It is too small. And that's because the animal's able to re-chew and re-chew and re-chew. So I see he's doing a little bit of shuffling there. I'm not sure if he's got a nice little bush under his belly there that he's busy scratching. Ridley, oh, that's funny. It does. Their cheeks are quite swollen in a way. Looks like holding its breath or holding in some water. 100%. Now they have to have quite strong muscles on the sides of their faces there. There was a bit of a snort there. Yeah, so they have got quite strong chewing muscles. But as you can see, they don't chew up and down like we do. They chew in a sideward fashion. And it just grounds it and grounds it and grounds it. He is beautiful, isn't he? Look at him. He is so dark. Very dominant. He's in a dominant stage in his life at the moment, releasing lots and lots of testosterone. Hello, Tasha. For the most part, yes, they are loners for the most part, although he will socialize with other giraffes, you know, the breeding herd, or a journey of giraffe, or a tower of giraffe, however you want to call it. But he also needs to think about avoiding competition because there's going to be bulls that are going to be stronger than him, and he needs to avoid that competition. And the way he does that is by, you know, when he's already finished mating with some females in a group, or he's socialized with them and has figured out that they can't breed because maybe they've got a calf already or they're already pregnant, he's going to leave and go. He's going to look for a different group. And by doing that and not staying indefinitely with a breeding group of females, it gives him the ability to avoid the competition. then also think about it, he needs to be in the best tip-top condition that he can possibly be in, so when he does go in and have a fight, that he's strong. Because if he picks his opponent incorrectly and his opponent is much stronger than him, believe it or not, but he could get killed by another giraffe. And so by staying by himself, he avoids a competition. He's got ample space and time to sort of feed, gain condition, stay strong, because he never knows when he's going to, spot females and socialize with them. They can be by themselves for days and weeks at a time. It depends. He is really staring this bull. I don't know what he's seen. I think it's going to be difficult for us to decipher because their eyesight is incredible. Giraffe's eyes, incredible. Now you can see he's fully focused. His ears are all pointing forward. His eyes are all pointing same direction. So he has seen something. Could be predator, could be other giraffe. There could be warthogs walking around here. Jackal, the list goes on and on.
On April 27th, Wild Earth will be celebrating a very special birthday. It's our Sweet 16. We want to celebrate you, our viewers who have been with us every step of the way.
I just appreciate you so much.
Send in your birthday wishes so we can include you in the celebrations.
Happy birthday, Wild Earth!
Video yourself saying happy birthday to Wild Earth with a short note and share them with us on birthday@wildearth.
Also, when this beautiful bull giraffe does find an opponent, to increase the leverage, they actually stand right next to each other. Oh, Erica, good morning. Oh, that's a tough one. I would have to ask the giraffe. They know. It's an instinctual thing. I mean, it's amazing, animals and their instincts. They know. It's from years and years of being in the bush, all the different generations that have come and gone. And if you look at All the animals out here, including the birds and the insects, they're masters of their environment. They really are. They know all the little things. The same goes, how does this giraffe know how to identify a sweet thorn tree or other trees that it's going to like to feed? Because sometimes they go straight to the plants that they want to feed on. So they can identify plants as well in a way. And that's also instinctual. Yeah, so they'll actually, when they find an opponent, the two opponents will literally stand right next to each other. So their ribs are touching each other. This increases the leverage. And then when this giraffe swings his head down and then brings it back up, most of the time it hits the chest, sometimes the legs, the neck. And what he's aiming for is actually that skull. If he can hit another giraffe in the right place on the skull, can drop that giraffe right to the ground. I've seen it once. It wasn't so dramatic, but I've seen videos, and I think you all should have a look at that. The videos that are out there, it's crazy to see giraffes smacking each other. It looks very, very painful. Oh, he just stuck his tongue out there. Also, if you have a look at him, look at the base of his neck. Look how thick it is. So this bull has been in many fights already in his life, and I have no doubt that he's won many of them as well. His neck is very well thickened, and definitely ready for a boxing match. Okay, we're going to send you over to Lauren now. She's managed to find some elephants, so enjoy that.
All still happening at Clo Dam. Elephants. Baboons are still here. Warthogs running amok. We had kudu earlier, but they've danced off. It's actually feeling quite hot. It's really warmed up. Here's me complaining earlier about the cold. So the warmer it is, of course, more animals will be attracted to the water hole. It's just so peaceful. I love sitting here, whether I'm live or not. You can see the warthogs in the background. There was a cheetah around here earlier that we were really hoping to catch up with, but I just wonder whether this dam is a little bit busy. I mean, there's a lot happening, especially if water is readily available elsewhere. But this is also a very good place to catch prey. There are impala that keep bouncing around. All sorts of antelope come here. If you're a cheetah, it's not a bad area at all. Is she alone? You can't be alone, beautiful. Vince. Elephants, no. There's kudu, yes. Warthog, yes. Baboons, yes. Impala, yes. Elephants, no, but they would possibly react. If it was a cheetah, the reaction may not be as big as if it was a pride of lions. But either way, elephants are very reactive and they would not like it. They would be able to smell the predator, whatever predator it is. Mammalian, at least. If it's a water monitor lizard, which is also a predator, remember, or a tawny eagle, they're probably not going to bother too much. But I think you're referring to mammalian predators, and yes, they would react, but I wouldn't say that they would scare off. And especially when herds have got youngsters, they can be really, really reactive, even though technically they don't necessarily have to be. Although there are lions in Botswana that take down elephants. They only hunt elephants, and I'm not talking juveniles. Adult elephants. It's crazy. But here in Madikwe, that doesn't tend to happen. I always think that rubbing post is an animal. Every time I come to this dam, at first glance, just the shape of it, I always think it's a cat. It's not. It's a rubbing post that has been rubbed by many, but it gets me every time. Leopard lover, I do enjoy hearing from you, but I must say I disagree. I do not hope Madikwe gets rain soon. They have had so much rain this year, more so than many of the other years previous to this. There is water everywhere. It will dry up. In winter it does dry up, but that is the essence of winter. There are pans here that will retain water, that will pump water. Select few. But Madikwe will not go completely dry. But for many years they have suffered drought. And I think this summer they have had more than enough rain, a lot of rain. And I believe there is more than enough water. Rian is actually from this area. He's actually born not too far away from here, so he knows this area very well. And I think you would agree we've had a lot of rain this year? He's nodding. So yes, I think the animals will be okay, and a few of the dams are pumped. A big bull's about to walk past us, Rian. Hello, boy. Are you gonna join the party? Wow. I just love these elephant walk-bys. I'm not sure if it's the same baboon, but one of them is very interested in just everything that's going on around. Not scared to walk past the elephants. I love just watching them. Let's just watch this interaction. everybody's getting to know one another here. Isn't this just incredible? These two boys are really interacting. It's lovely to see young boys. Maybe they know each other, or maybe they're just getting to know each other. Young boys will make friends, especially with older bulls. It's getting hot now. You don't want to be out there on their own. They've just come from life in a herd. Look at these baboons crossing. Rian, over here. There's a tiny little one with them as well. It's safe to say the elephants paid no attention to the baboons. Catherine, you're not getting any work done today because of these Ellies. Oh, I'm sorry. I do think watching the Ellies is definitely better than doing work, that's for sure. But I can only imagine it's distracting. I try not to talk too much in these sightings. I try not to, because I really do believe it's important for you guys just to immerse yourself, just enjoy and relax and listen. There's lots of sounds. The elephants splashing, rumbling, blacksmith lapwing, pied crow. There's so much happening. These boys have been incredibly gentle. They could be a lot more physical with one another than they actually are being. This is play. This is just being tactile, engaging, interaction. It's just fun. There's a fantastic book called What a Fish Knows, and it is all about fish. So if you don't like fish, it's not the book for you. But it's really, really fascinating, and it does talk quite deeply about fish having fun. And it's been proven that they absolutely do have fun, and it goes into fun in the animal kingdom and how there is actually criteria to determine if an animal's having fun, which sounds a bit silly, but I guess in science everything has criteria, everything has categories. You've got to be able to scientifically analyze something. And upon reading that and doing my own research, I think it really highlights what I was saying earlier about getting pleasure in life. And I really do believe, and again, it's just my personal opinion, you're welcome to disagree, that all animals on some level will have fun. They will do something that is just fun, and it can't be described as lifestyle or a necessary function to survive or a reproductive strategy or anything like that. It can only be described as fun. I think elephants are a great example because we can really see and feel that they're having fun because we can relate to them. Yes, it's a little bit tricky to see when a dragonfly is having fun. But I believe somehow, on some level, even if we can't quite prove it yet, all animals do things for fun. All animals engage in play. Think of humans when we're children, how often we engage in play. But we're going to continue to sit here, Clo Dam with the Clo, and we're going to send you guys over to Okokoyo with Lisa.
Thank you, Lauren. What an incredible sighting. And sightings, actually, even the baboons, I enjoyed them. Which is a very strange thing for me to say. But what a beautiful day. Just look at these wonderful kudu bulls. Unfortunately, they have now already had a sip of water and they are slowly moving off, but I definitely wanted to just show all of you these majestic creatures, as it's something we don't see every single day in Okokoyo. So these are two bachelors on the prowl, looking for a lady to spend the evening with. No, this is what kudus do. In my personal experience specifically, you wouldn't see a massive herd of kudu bulls all together forming a bachelor herd. Perhaps you have. If you have, you're of course more than welcome to let me know. But for me personally, I generally have only seen them, a few individuals together. And they are slowly moving off, as I said, so then we'll come back to the waterhole. But this has got to be one of the popular antelopes in Africa that people enjoy photographing, looking for on safari, because they camouflage very, very well. Not just the bulls, but the females as well. And if you think about it, it's incredible, once again, how Mother Nature is designed. If you think of the springbok are predominantly grazers. So are the zebras, but the zebras are bulk grazers, so they don't really care which type of grass they eat. Then you look at the wildebeest being selective grazers. Then you look at something like a giraffe, an elephant, for the most part they feed at the top of the trees, but something like these kudus, they'll feed at the middle section of trees. So everything is so effortlessly balanced out with animals' diets, and really just everything they do. But let me take you back to the waterhole so we can see what's happening over there. Ellen, you would like to know if the kudus are the biggest antelopes? No. So in a lot of areas they could be, because they would not have elands in that area as well. But we do have elands here in Okokoyo as well, in Etosha National Park, which, Ellen, we've actually not seen for a really long time. But we do also have eland here. And if you're not too familiar with what they look like, definitely go check them out. It's a very, very, almost looks like an antelope and, I'm trying to think now. A domestic cattle, an antelope, and a camel. No, not a camel. Perhaps some features. But it looks like they had a fun one evening and made a baby. But they are beautiful antelope as well, but not as common as the kudu. Elands prefer open, vast areas. My first game reserve that I guided on the upper escarpment, we had a lot of elands, and it really is a massive animal. They can become about 1 ton. So the kudus are not the largest antelopes. However, they do definitely go up there with one of the larger ones.
Towards the end of May, I'm going to be heading back to Djuma, which is one of my favourite places. Now, as many of you know, we need a little help keeping our operations going. For those of you who donate $100 or more, I'll take you on a private safari. It won't be entirely private, there may be 20 or so of you there, but you'll still be able to answer any questions that you might have. We'll visit all the places that you want to, and we'll look for all the characters that you'd like to see.
And we are slowly coming to that very sad time of the day where we have to say cheerio, but we still have some time left. So definitely get in touch with me. Let me know what you want to see. We did have an elephant in Djuma, but of course it took off. Just literally had one sip of water and then moved on feeding. And I suspect, I can't confirm this, but I suspect that we also had hippos mating, Dewey and that cow. But I cannot confirm this. I'm not too sure, but whilst monitoring the dam camera with the zoomies, there was definitely some romance going on. So I will of course keep observing it and take us over if something happens. But for now, please do send me your questions and comments for the last bit of Escape to Nature. Tell me what's been your highlight of the day. What have you enjoyed the most? For me, I've definitely enjoyed the hippos in Djuma, but really everything. The kudu bulls, the zebras, the wildebeest, the springbok, the impalas, even all of the animals that we see every single day has just been so amazing. Woo! You can definitely hear the wind picking up. You can also see it on the water surface, which I think the animals are most probably grateful for. This can become a very hot and humid location. But that being said, I mean, whilst working in Florida for a year, I think out of those 12 months, 10 out of those 12, even if there was a breeze, it was still horrible. Because it's literally just heat and humidity circulating. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying my experience was horrible. I'm just thinking if the animals feel the same. If the wind is blowing, is it literally just heat being circulated? Is it a little bit of a breeze that's helping them to cool off? Because you would think a lot of the animals would be at the waterhole if it was really just hot. But perhaps they're all just sticking to the shade today. And 32 degrees Celsius is not that hot. I mean, we've had much hotter days here. But again, we can only wait and see what else might come. And as always, I would encourage you to keep monitoring the different dam cameras, even after Escape to Nature. Woo! And you can do so by either going onto YouTube or our app, and you can still check out which animals come to the waterhole. What is happening? What might you be missing out on? I love that so many of our viewers watch the Djuma Dam Cam religiously and can often tell us, you know, if we don't hear from the zoomies before them, but then they often tell us, oh, there's something on the dam camera. Tell Steve, tell Trishala, tell Lauren, tell Ben. So for those of you that are not too familiar with this location here where you see the fence line, this is the actual Okukuyo campsite. So I'm sure many of you saw just now there are actual chairs right around the camp and people can just sit and watch and observe. Just wait for the animals to come this way. It really is the perfect spot. We've got a waterhole here. It is the largest salt lake in Africa. So a lot of the animals are relying on this specific waterhole as well. But you can see the springbok coming very close to the actual fence. Lions at night, rhinos, specifically the black rhinos. It's really one of my favorite locations, and I've not even been here for myself. But I have to tell you, monitoring and observing this camera for, the past 7-8 months now has been such a journey. Because every single day is a new adventure and a new learning curve. Not just with the animals, but with how everything changes. You can see there's really almost little to none grass left. And still the springbok is just taking full advantage of the little bit that is left. And again, something we can learn from animals. Being resourceful, not being wasteful. I feel so ashamed, when I look at how much we are wasting as humans. Food, water, energy, resources. If only we could be a springbok. Or an oryx. Both these species that we have in frame right now, the one closest to us, that is the springbok, and the one approaching from the far back, that is the oryx. And both of these animals are incredibly resourceful. They can survive in areas like this even when there's no water. They can go days and days on end without having to need to get to water. But of course, when there's water, they will definitely use it. So to cool off, to drink. Woo! And just like that, it became a pool party for all of the oryxes. And they love doing this. The oryxes, the springbok, as I said, in general, by natural norm, they don't have to do this. But they don't know when they'll get to water again. So therefore, they'll actually go into the water, get the whole body wet, cool off. But it's been very interesting. We haven't seen calves of the oryx in quite some time. At the end of last year, we did. But as of late, they have not been coming to visit us. Very rude. And I would definitely also urge you, go check out on social media, on YouTube. There are various waterholes all over the world, but specifically in Africa that I know of that you can check out. Just see which animals come around. I know one of our avid viewers, Ray J, always informs me on some of the waterholes that she also checks out. Interest piques curiosity. When you're curious, you want to learn more. And when you learn more, you want to know more. And when you know more, you want to help more. I always say this. For me personally, I mean, yes, I'm familiar with this location. But I did not know you could actually check out this waterhole. My mom's visited this location, and even after her travels, you know, she wasn't aware that there's an actual camera here. But it's been so amazing just being able to spend some time with these animals here in Djuma. And every single day, as I say, is just a new adventure. We never know what's going to show up. Will we see elephants? Will we see a rhino? But I hope all of you have enjoyed Escape to Nature with us today. And it really has been a wonderful day. We've seen some hippos, zebras, wildebeest, oryx, springbok, elephants, baboons, zebras. It's been a busy day if you think about it. Often when we get back to the lodge, you know, after I've taken guests on a safari, they say, we don't see all that much. And then I say, no. And you start listing everything from the small to the big, from the reptiles to the mammals to the birds. And every single day we are so blessed to be able to see all of these animals, whether they are big, small, part of the big five, part of the little five, ugly five, reptiles, mammals, plants, just everything that we get to see out here. And I know you guys don't see me, you just hear me. But of course, seeing our other lesser spotted Homo sapiens, Lauren, and then of course her wonderful assistant and cameraman, Rian, as well as Andrew and Morgan in Amakhala. It's really been a brilliant day overall. And I hope you've enjoyed it with us. But as always, thank you so much for your questions, your comments, your suggestions. And please do join us again tomorrow. I think we're going to have another wonderful day tomorrow. And I'm really forward to spending some more time with all of you and just spending some time with the animals. Let's take one last cheeky look around. You never know. Braid your hair, cross your legs, cross your fingers. Let's see. No one approaching on this side. Perhaps on this side. Well, we tried. We tried, and we really have seen so much today. But from myself, Lisa, your waterhole naturalist, thank you so much. It really has been a beautiful day, and I hope all of you will have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Remember to join us this afternoon for Sunset Safari. And of course, check out anything else that you might be missing. The highlights will be available from today's Escape to Nature. But I will definitely be back tomorrow. Again, thank you for all of your questions, comments, suggestions. I really appreciate all of you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday.